You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, Movo University, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Tractioning System, Imaging Services, Ignite Marketing, and Zing It Solutions. Let's hustle. Hey everybody, Jim Chester coming to you today with Chiro Hustle live stream. I have Dr. Noel Lloyd. He's over there. I always do it the wrong way. He's coming in from Seattle, Washington. I am in the Grand Valley of Grand Junction, which is on the western slope of Colorado, which I like to say no one lives at. I came here to hear the birds chirp. And this episode is brought to us today by David Serio and Vita Chiropractic. If you guys want to know more about David Serio, he has 20 clinics between Argentina and Spain. So he's really doing big things in the Latin-speaking world. But let's dive right into you. Hey, Herschel, thanks for joining me, brother. Herschel really gave me some good advice one day, Dr. Lloyd. He said, stop taking what people give you and start taking what you want.
There you go. Thanks, Herschel.
And he also took me under his wing when I was 16 years old and trained me how to lift weights properly and how to do physical training for my body the right way to where I could be a good athlete.
That's great. I worked out this morning for an hour and 12 minutes.
Nice. I ran the mountain that I run in an hour today. Yesterday I did in 57 minutes.
Wow.
So, taking care of the body is one part of it. It's one of the pillars of success.
You've got to be healthy in order to do this work. It's too important. And you don't want to dig a grave with your teeth. And you want to make sure that you also use your body in such a way that you'd be able to do this for a long time. That's what I want to do.
And 5-star management, you've been doing it for 31 years.
Yeah, 31, almost 32 years. Basically, my practice management system came out of what I developed for myself inside my own clinics. I had a big bad injury, which took me out of active practice, where I had to hire associates, and I learned a lot about developing associates. And so I was training my associates, and I thought, why don't we add some other people to the mix? And so we started coaching people, and so the rest is history, so they say.
Yeah, I completely understand. And, I met a good friend of mine, James Choate, who makes Choate tables out in California. And
Right.
he had an injury too. He was in fifth quarter to become a chiropractor. And now he makes some of the most world-renowned tables.
Cool.
So it just shows that if we have our passion and drive in the right place, even if something knocks us down, we can stand back up and do what's right.
Right. You gotta know how to make lemonade out of the lemons, because everybody's life is going to run into some difficulty and some challenges, and it just makes you stronger. And it could be the thing that actually transforms your life. It was for me, because I love being a coach and I love running my own clinics. And now I've sold all my own clinics to my associates, but now I get a chance to work with great chiropractors all over the States.
That's really cool. So let's talk about success, not just selling the practices, but some of the success that your clients are having.
Okay. So one of the successes, I spoke to a young woman this morning, and she's got this absolutely tremendous practice. I met her at about 600,000. She's going to do $1 million this year. She wanted to have a baby. The practice was her first baby. And so she said, I know that you know how to develop associates, and I want to do that in a win-win model where no one is taken advantage of. Everybody is treated correctly. So she had her first baby, and she did 99% of her best every year in practice while taking 3 months off in order to have a baby. Now, last year, she had another baby, and she broke her practice records and stayed home for a 15-week maternity leave. So her associates, by the way, did a beautiful job. They all made record money. Jamie made record money. So I'm so proud of her. She's learned how to pick, how to hire, and how to launch associates in a successful win-win model. So that's one success right there.
No, it's really cool. But you said that you had a lot more people that were collecting record numbers, and you said you took less clients, but the ones that you have are doing better.
No, aggregate between New Patient Academy and Five Star Management, we have the highest number of clients we've ever had. Number one.
Oh, wow.
Number two, in Five Star Management, we have the highest percentage of first-time $1 million practices this in 2017, and it looks like we'll beat that again. But we also had the highest number of clients doing their best every year. Now, when I'm your coach, I have several targets. I want to know what your best every year was, and I want to beat it. And I want to beat it with a fraction of the effort. And we want to perfect your systems so that you get so busy that you need an associate. Then I teach you how to bring the associate in through what I call the correct door, the right door. So it's a win-win relationship. And I want your associate on the phone late at night talking to his or her parents saying, hey, what Dr. Lloyd's doing for me now, he's teaching me this, and I'm almost at bonus. I want the associate excited. And I want you, the clinic director, to be talking to your friends over the weekend saying, my associate's just the greatest guy or just the greatest girl, and they're really motivated. And we know how to do that. And so I really think that for many will be exactly what they want their practices to do. And I think that it really, really serves the profession. Students now think that most associateships are terrible. In fact, if you go to the campus, you can't find anybody talking positive about an associateship. But the associates that I work with my clinic directors, are making great money, having fun, and want to stay in the clinics.
Yeah, I know. And that's one of your pillars that you stand on is have fun.
Right. So, yeah, 3 pillars. Help people first. It's got to be the people first. Help as many people as your technique allows and your heart's desires. And then number 2, have fun. This can be fun. You know, in the clinic, in the moment, during your power hours, it should be fun. And then number 3, it's got to be profitable. You got to make money. If it's not profitable, it's not here next year. Also, these kids get out of school at $250,000 in debt. You want to, if you bring an associate in, you want to teach them how to get out of all debt and how to be very, very successful. But if you learn how to do that first, it's easy to teach them to do that.
Well, your quote for the day, I'm going to make a post after this episode. It's what I do is help successful chiropractors replicate themselves and their associates in a win-win relationship so they stay friends after the transfer.
Right. So I sold 10 clinics to, it just so happened it was all men, to young men that I met. Some of them I met them as students. Some of them I met them as interns. Some of them they were fresh out of school, and it was my job to teach them how to be successful chiropractors. And then they grew up in the practices. And at some point in time, it was the right thing to do for me to sell the practice to them. And then they became what I call they were my bird dogs. They would say, hey, Doc, I've got this friend from school. I want to send him over to speak to you. He wants to do what I do. And I had a chance to bring several guys into the clinic that way. So, yeah, you need to be a friend after the sale, because that says that you prepared the associate correctly, you sold them something at a reasonable price, and then they had a chance to go off and be successful on their own.
That's really brilliant. And I appreciate you giving so much value to other people that's lives you get a chance to touch. And I think that says a lot about the qualities of a person, not just for what they can do for I, me, but what they give to others. And I think that creating relationships that are positive for others that are outside of your direct, after you set the stage for influence, they carry on that energy to have even further levels of greater influence. And like you said, it gives people the freedom. It gives people freedom of relationship. It gives people freedom of service. It gives people freedom of, if you're into vacations, it might give you that freedom as well.
So you mentioned, you asked me about success. There's another young man that I coach, and he's in Eastern Ohio. His name is Brian Morris. And he and I spent some time together over last weekend when I was in Chicago. And Brian says that now his first focus is his practice and his business, but his second focus right away is his associates' practices. And he has 2 wonderfully successful associates who are seeing roughly 200 patient visits a week each. They make great money. And Brian says, I'm always thinking about how I can help my associate on to the next level. Now, he's in a really good business relationship with these doctors. He's teaching them what they need to do in order to be successful. They're helping lots of people. They're having lots of fun. The associates are making lots of money. This is a cute story. So Rachel, his associate, said to him right after payday, "What's with my check?" And he said, what was there a problem with your check? He says, "No, there wasn't a problem. It was huge." and so he's laughing. He says, "Well, you see all the patients you're seeing? Yeah. Well, they pay money for this. And then your percentage is this is how you get paid." And so she said, "Cool, that's great." So I want to be the clinic director who not only loves my associate, but also wants to see them successful. And guys say to me, "Well, Noel, if you train them that much, and if you teach them that much, and if you empower them that much, they'll get up and leave." They don't do that if they like the environment that they're in. I have so many different doctors that I have talked to their associates, and I'd say, at the start of the relationship, what did you see this as? Well, I saw it as a stepping stone, but I'm helping so many people. I'm having so much fun. I'm making so much money. I get great vacations. The doc and I take care of each other. I love working in this environment. That's what I call the win-win paradigm. And if you put that together, you are going to have just an absolutely wonderful practice and have more than enough reasons to love work.
And I think a lot of times people just have to reassociate how they think about working with people. And they have to say that, hey, something's already established. I can be a warrior and a leader within this system. I don't have to go do it alone. I don't have to do all the heavy lifting alone. I don't have to get the lease. I don't have to do all the overhead of the business running. I can go in and take care of people and become in a great system that I can, flourish within and help more people along with a certain mission that I didn't have to do it all, but I had a chance to be a part of that.
Well, one of the things, and this is kind of a little side piece, but it's something I've always done in every practice after I learned it, is that I would hire a super strong front desk CA, train them how I wanted the practice to run in terms of scheduling and booking me per hour and collecting money and flow and answering the phone. And then I would learn phrases like, "Yes, ma'am, where do you need me next? How are my times? How am I doing?" So I would train a real strong front desk because they sit in that captain's chair. They know what's going on in the clinic. And then I go to work for that person and I really, really try to play by my own rules. Now, what that also does is that sets up a great paradigm for how you train your associates. And I remember one of my front desk CAs was talking to one of my associates who needed a talking to. She said, "You see what Dr. Lloyd does? Do that." And so you really are, if you do this right and you hire the right person, and there are wrong people, you don't want to hire the wrong people. You can bring them on correctly. You guys can work next to each other. You can get all the vacation you want. You can get all the help that you want. You can get all the freedom that you want and tons of money in a win-win relationship where there are no losers. So, I love this stuff. I think you can tell, right?
Oh, I absolutely agree. And, one of the things I first learned about how to do work with people is build rapport. And you get 2 minutes to build rapport with somebody. And if you don't figure that out within 2 minutes, then the conversation and the relationship and the friendship's pretty much stalled. Right. And you have to do a lot to develop rapport with people. You get to know their name. You shake their hand. You make them feel comfortable. You might say something like, "Hey, nice shoes," or "Hey, nice haircut," or something. Just you have to build rapport with people constantly all day long, congratulating people because it's bigger than you. Obviously it's reciprocal. When we start doing that, now we get the gift of love. We get the gift of accomplishment. We get the gift of, people seeing us as who we've become. And now they say, "Hey, you got to talk to this guy. He's an awesome, awesome person. And by the way, he's a chiropractor."
Yes.
And when you build that, that relationship equity with people, then you become their chiropractor as well.
Right.
So next thing I would like to touch on is I just want to go and say hello and thank you to a couple of people that have commented. Dave Major He is,
David.
when I say that I'm the best at what I do on planet Earth,
Yes.
he's the only other person that I say is better than me.
You guys, I love screenings, and I know Dave does screenings so well, and I know that you do as well. And you've worked with doctors that I've worked with, and David is he's just the ninja master at screening. He does such a great job.
He's an exceptional human being, and he does a lot to help other people as well. But he finds the value exchange within his paradigm to make sure that he's getting people what they need and serving himself the right way too, which I absolutely love about what he does.
He's gifted.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, Movo University, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Tractioning System, Imaging Services, Ignite Marketing, and Zingit Solutions. Let's hustle. So the next thing is Jonathan Tiong. He says thumbs up to us, and Dave says great job, Jim. Do you know Jonathan?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Now, if I do, and Jonathan, I'm sorry, not all the names connect with faces. But if I do know John, I apologize. But
completely okay. I just didn't know. I just like to recognize people that come on and they do comment to us, because that's another thing I teach people is to be social on social. And nobody wants to show up to the party and not have you wave to them or say hello. So right. I always try to be a consummate professional by recognize people that are active with us to make sure that they feel welcome, and then they will return. By the way, if you guys don't have on the notifications for me when I go live, please do that. And just to get active with you right now, this is a pattern to interrupt. Please type in where you guys are watching from so we know where our audience is watching us from. Jonathan, if you're still with us, where are you at? Dave, I know you're in Ohio, so put that in there for me. And if anybody else is out there watching, just get interactive with us. Let us know where you're watching from. But the next thing I know that you do that's really special for your team is the New Patient Academy.
Right.
How does that marry into 5-star management?
Well, for 31 years, I've been coaching. The biggest reason that chiropractors call 5-star management was new patients. In fact, you can be an average chiropractor. You don't even have to be a nice man or a nice woman. But if you know how to produce new patients, you're going to have a killer practice. If you have the best heart for chiropractic, your community, your patients, and you're the sweetest guy or the sweetest girl in the world, and you don't know how to get new patients, you're going to struggle. And so we focus in the New Patient Academy on helping doctors work with an external marketer. Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox here for just a second. I think the most logical hire in all of the world in chiropractic practices is an external marketer. If I were to do my 11th clinic today, the first person I would hire is a chiropractor. The second person I would hire is an external marketer. Before a front desk CA? Yeah, because a front desk CA would come in and sit in that office, and then the clinic director would have to go out. What I want is that external marketer producing events, producing new patients, having that clinic be busy right away. You and I were talking a little bit before we started the broadcast. My busiest clinic that I ever launched was 161 new patients in 1 month. I mean, it was absolutely a mob scene, and it was because we had an external marketer. And so the external marketer takes the message in a very, very simple sales cycle and then helps people make a commitment to come into the clinic. The vast majority do. And then you get a chance to talk to them about what they're there to see the chiropractor. They're there to get help. And you get a chance to make them a great offer, and they get started. And they discover what I discovered, 65 years ago or 64 years ago when I got my first adjustment.
It's quite special. And when you got people out there that are evangelists for the chiropractic message, right, and you have people out there that are out there, doing what's best for humanity, I think
Right.
that's the big win, is because you can take people that might, I'll just use some, simple analogies. Somebody's out there selling speakers. They know everything about a car. They know everything about how to do an install. But if you take that same person, those same communication habits, and you teach them how to talk chiropractic and how to get people into offices, or you can have somebody that, works at a bar and they know everything about alcohol and drinks and making drinks and selling drinks and what goes into what with ingredients. You teach that same person to talk the tick. They can go out there and harvest the community for large numbers of people and be that external marketing arm. And there's so many people out there with communications degrees, journalistic degrees, marketing backgrounds that are just sitting on their hands. And they're waiting to do something like this, Dr. Lloyd. They're waiting to be able to go out there and serve. They just don't know what to do.
And so one of our doctors was absolutely convinced that his only practice problem was not enough new patients. And we trained him how to find, and then we trained his external marketer for him and set her loose on his community. And he's on the phone with me. He says, I don't know how I can handle this. I've got so many new patients. There's almost no place to put them. Between the regular patients that I have, I said, so you've got a new patient problem? He says, yes, it's a much, much better new patient problem, but how do we do that? Well, I taught this doctor how to bring on his first associate and how to bring on his second. And so he's getting great time off. His external marketer does a beautiful job, produces an extra 60 new patients for the practice a month, 60 a month, and has all these new patients coming in. The associates are getting busy. Now he trains his associates to do marketing as well, because I think that it's not fair to not train them to do the marketing. And so he's got this great practice, but it wasn't till he solved the new patient problem that he really started to step into his own and really, really go to a higher level of success. That is so important to handle.
What you said is what I learned probably 3 years ago from listening to Sid Williams. He's like, boy, you got to have your business hand over here. You got to have your adjusting hand over here.
Right.
And when it comes to marketing, that's the business hand. And so many people don't want to get in the trenches because it's a mucky job. It's a lot of heavy lifting. It's a lot of setup time. It's a lot of prep time. It's a lot of breakdown time. And it's not just showing up and waving with your nice shirt on and getting people to come into your office.
Well, people say to me, well, Noel, I'm not a salesman. The heck you aren't. Every single person that's got an idea that they want somebody else to embrace is a salesman. The only question is, are you any good at it? And if you don't want to do external marketing, there are people that we can hire. They don't have to be geniuses, but we found a particular temperament. We found a particular training. We've got a particular program. So the New Patient Academy, if people are interested in getting an external marketer, they can go to my NPA, my New Patient Academy, mynpa.com, and take a look at what we do and see some of the testimonies. My most productive ever external marketer for a client was Rochelle, and she produced over 646 new patients in the door for her doctor and his two associates, and the practice absolutely exploded. Absolutely exploded. So you can get people with average skills. If the system is genius enough, put an average person in a genius system and you'll get genius results.
I get it. You bringing that up brings up a touching story for me. Is I sent 624 new patients to one doc in 18 months, and I was just working for them sporadically.
Wow. That's incredible.
So when you take somebody that has passion behind helping people, you teach them simple sales strategies. You teach them how to be a closer. I know those are two icky words in the world. I don't want to sell and I don't want to close. Well, bingo. If you don't do either one of those, you guys are going to close doors. It's going to be like Chris Rock would say, grand opening, grand closing. And
but here's the deal. So if you've got kids, you want to sell them on getting good grades, hanging out with good people, staying off drugs, and you want to close that deal, right? If you're, let's say, you're a guy and you take an interest in a girl, you want to sell her on you being the right guy, and you want to close the deal. And so closing just means that you help people make a decision that's good for them and good for you. So we're all salespeople. By the way, my wife used to sell used cars, and I won a sales contest when I was 12 years old. But you don't have to be naturally gifted at sales. You can learn a simple genius sales cycle. And then we send our COAs into the community to produce events and new patient appointments. And the vast majority of those people come in. Then it's what do they find when they come into the office? And they need to have a passionate chiropractor who understands his or her philosophy, has a great vision for how the practice should run, and then a team that's going to be able to low stress, be able to handle those people and show them, hey, what I bought when I did that screening thing or when I did that external marketing thing was so cool, I want to tell my friends. So that's the next step after you make the sale.
Well, I'm going to tell a quick story. I know we have a couple more things to touch on, but when I was going back through college, I wanted to go study abroad. And I don't come from a lot of money. So what I did is I made relationship. Here we go. I made a relationship with one of my high school buddies whose dad owned a used car lot. So right. to tie into that story, they would sell me a car $200 over what they wholesaled for it. So if it sat on the lot too long, they would sell it to me to get it off the lot to where they could get something new on. Anyways, I sold 6 cars when I was a freshman in college so I could go and pay for my trip to go study abroad over in Europe.
And I bet you bought those cars on credit until you sold them.
Actually, the first car, they let me put half down.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Well, so, I mean, now some people are so natural at it and they do it so well. The thing that's heartbreaking is to find somebody who struggled with new patients for 10 or 20 or 30 years. We help them get an external marketer. And I had one guy speak to me with tears in his eyes. And he said, if I had known that there was a way to put an external marketer into the community producing new patients, that when they finally bring them in the office and I get a chance to talk to them and using scripts and procedures that help them make the next correct step inside your office, he said, I wish I would have known that 30 years ago. And I'd say, hey, listen, let's de-stress the practice. Let's build it up. Bring a couple of associates in where you're working a little bit less and the associates are experiencing the newfound success that you have, and then you can continue to do this for a while.
Well, we're pushing up on the edge of our episode. We have about 4 minutes left, so let's quickly touch on, you have an event coming up on June 19th. Tell us about that a little bit.
So here's what we do. We do something called the Clinic Director Empowerment Project, CDEP. And CDEP is a special class that I take people through. It's a 10-week intensive on how to prepare for, how to hire, and how to launch associates in a successful win-win model where there's more than enough success to go around. The advantage to the clinic director is that he or she gets the help that they need just the way that they want it. They get the freedom that they long to have in order to be able to enjoy their success, and they make great money. And the associate wins because they get an opportunity to have a great job, to get training, and also a successful future. So I teach people how to do this. I've got people all over the United States and Canada and in the UK who have great associate relationships. So CDEP, Clinic Director Empowerment Project, is a live webinar series that we teach, so you can take it from your couch in your house or your clinic desk. And so you have to get in touch with us at 5-Star Management. You have to go to my5star.com, take a look at our contact information, and see if there's still room. Now, I've got my clients and I've got brand new people in that. I've only got 4 spots left.
So take this with the sense of urgency. Anybody's watching this. By the way, if you guys get to this point in this interview and you're watching this on replay, put hashtag replay in the comments there, so I know you watched it after that. If you guys do have questions about New Patient, I believe it's called New Patient Academy and 5-star management, please reach out to myself or Dr. Noel Lloyd. He'll be happy to help you with any of your ideas or what you might have as a thought process that maybe he can streamline it, make it easier for you, and give you a helping hand for more success. Before we jump off, we have 2 minutes left. Let's talk about the Women's Chiropractic Group and how you're supporting them.
When I was in school, I was in a class of 167. There were 4 women in my class. Now, I was just recently at Marietta, Georgia, and speaking to students, and 51% of the chiropractic students are women. So I know Cindy Schaff-Toll, who's helped instrumental in putting together such a wonderful women's group on Facebook. And she said, Noel, would you like to be a sponsor? Yes. So I wrote the check, or I pulled out the credit card, and they do great work, absolutely wonderful work. The majority of the profession in school are going to be women, and it's so exciting and dynamic to see these women really, really tear it up and get into their own, and to show us and to show me what they can do. It's pretty powerful. In fact, it's wonderfully powerful.
Well, I support what they do too. Something that maybe some of you know that have been following what we're doing at Chiro Hustle is we did 16 weeks of women in chiropractic to start this year off. So we really shined a spotlight on the women chiropractor and became more integrated, because I know that the numbers split. I know that they need support. I know that that's not always as easy, for a woman to stay in practice long term because of starting families and taking care of a clinic, and then, being a pillar in their community as well. So thank you, Cindy, for what you do and for what you've done for the women's group and bringing chiropractic together and giving women a safe place to communicate and to get help as needed, and for people to share ideas and to grow together. I just think it's wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that you're supporting them, and Chiro Hustle supports them full on. And I just look forward to seeing more success within the dynamic of the woman chiropractor.
Me too.
Well, we've hit our 30-minute hard stop. I want to say thank you to David Serio with Vita Chiropractic for sponsoring this episode of the Chiro Hustle live stream. I want to thank all of you that have been a part of this live stream, the comments that came in. Thank you for that, the emotions behind what we do. If you do like what we're doing, please comment on this after it's over and maybe share it. Those go a long way with us. There's a reason we call ourselves Chiro Hustle, because we're always working. We're putting out more content than anybody else in the chiropractic market space. Wow. And we just want to be the guiding light for people when it comes to the media front and getting more content out there. So I just want to close out saying, you're just one story away, Noel. Keep hustling.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a blessed rest of your day.
Thank you. I will.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.